Hey everybody, so we're going to be talking about hard disk formatting just like we did in class, but we're going to do it maybe again just to review, and we're going to see like a better way to do it. And then I'm going to go further, the stuff we didn't about in class, and explain what is an FS table or FSTAB table and how to use those kind of things, plus the permissions you need for the hard drive, like for accessing the hard drive or the materials behind it. So so like I said, I'll really do it from the start again. So basically, on your machine, you have to have your machine stopped, which I hesitating to do here. So okay, so power it off. Go into the settings, storage. Now here you can add as many disks as you want to experiment with. Remember, this is just an environment that we have that we can play around with. So I'm going to add two hard drives. I'll pretend that I need two disks to be added to the machine. So add a hard disk, and I'm going to create two of them. So um, better usually to go into expert mode. Well, let's see what it happens if we don't. So next. The storage on physical disk, you don't need to pre-allocate full size. This just makes it faster, but it takes the full memory needed. If you don't do this, you'll save memory for now. Uh, so what's the size? I'm going to make this. I'll make each one of them maybe or 5 GB. 5. Yeah, this is not easy to use there. 5 GB. Okay, good. So there's the first. I'll create another one. I'll use the expert mode this time, just show the difference, I suppose. So here, I'll keep it at 5 GB. Keep it a VDI, and don't. What are these? These are basically other image formats. So let's say that you made your experiments here in VirtualBox, and then you wanted to take your stuff that you did, and you wanted to put it in this interesting other thing like Proxmox here. This is like another. This is a more professional enterprise level virtualization like VirtualBox. Well, you can do that, and you can then take your disks and you can load them in here, and you can do it like this is when you do things professionally. So I'm going to keep everything as is. By the way, the image formats that are really popular are VMDK and QCOW. Like those are the different types. So finish. So now I have two disks. Um, Can I choose two? Let's see. Shift. No, choose. So that's the first. Um, I'll add another one by choosing the second. It's weird the way it works. I agree. So now I have the first one that the Linux is installed on, and here's the two extra disks that I'm adding to the machine. I'm gonna click OK, and we see all the disks are there. So now you can start the machine again. So it's starting up. I've got a pretty generally fast machine, um, but it's fast as I guess as of last year or about a year and a half ago. So things are a little faster now. All right, so I'm started up. I'm going to reconnect to it here. But so you're using probably PuTTY, so you just have to connect with PuTTY. Okay, I'm going to make this easier for you to see. Okay, so now let's see what we did. Again, you go to Dev, you type ls, and you look at the machines that you have currently. So um, SDA is your, well, SDA here is your current drive with Linux. Then the two new that we added is SDB and SDC, like this. So, we have to find a way um, uh, to do this. So what are the steps? So first step is attach your drives, which is what we did. The second step would be to partition if needed. Okay, so what I'm doing here, okay, what I'm attempting to do is I'm going to create one partition or maybe two on each one of these, and then format that partition. So it's basically the way it looks like is one drive which has one partition. Um, I mean, it's okay. You can do it like this. You can have one drive that has two partitions on it. But let's say we go back and we say one drive with one partition. Um, you don't really need to create a partition, to be honest, if you're not making two partitions. You can just format the drive directly. So, and that's the case that you would skip this if needed. That's why I keep saying if needed, if needed. The next step after this would be to make a file system. So the partitioning here, you're going to use a tool called parted. For the file system, you're going to use a tool called mkfs for make file system, and we're going to use ext4 as the type. Okay, so we're going to do this. Um, I'll do it for the first hard drive that we added. So let's do that. So first of all, ls blk, just to look at what is there. So these are the two that are in question. And actually, look, they're the good sizes, 5 gigs each. So I'm going to say part ed. And we need to make a partition table. We have to choose a GPT or MBR. So actually, it's MBR. We write MS-DOS. That's the name that is supplied. Okay. So let me just get my notes out here. Okay. So we're gonna issue the first command. So sudo parted. No, we're not going to go into. We're just gonna. I'm gonna do the shortcut way, the faster way. Um, so first of all, put the location of the drive, and it's SDB that we care about, and we're gonna do mk label. Um, we're gonna go with GPT for now, not really MS-DOS for the first one. So there you go. So done. Okay, so um, the file system is then created. I guess it's another step I didn't say, in the list of steps. The next thing to do is to create the partition. So we're going to say sudo parted dev sdb, excuse me, not a, and mkpart. For this is the thing that creates your partition actually. Um, what type? Primary. And we'll say that it's from it's ext4 and it's from 0%. I don't know, like how do we want to partition this drive? From 0% to let's say we'll take 50% of the space of the drive, like this. I'll do another partition on it. So we'll actually make two partitions, and we'll say this one's from 50% to 100%. So you see how I'm doing this? Like I'm saying the partition, like if this is the drive, space. The first partition is like I'm taking half the space like this, and I'm making the other half the other partition. So this, well, it's not equal really on the screen there. I'm putting 50% and 50%. That's kind of what I'm doing here. Okay, so it's done. It's okay as well. Type ls block list block to see if what you did is correct. So we have SDB, which is our new machine. We have SDB1, which is 2.5, and SDB2, which is 2.5. So we're actually okay. Like we've done this properly. So the next step is what? It's to create a file system. So I'm going to create ext4 file system on it, which is sudo makefs ext4. Then I think you just have to put dev sdb. So be careful here though, right? SDB, which ones do we want to format? We want to format partition 1. So SDB1, like this. Let me make sure my command is correct. Yep. You can also create a label. I have it in my notes here. Like you could put a label like data 1 or something. If you wanted to see like a label when you're listing the drives, but we don't really care, I guess, for now. So there you go. The drive is created. I'll do it again for STB2. So we have this. We have both created now. So clear ls block. It doesn't show any difference really, but there is. What else can we type? We can say df. The df command. It's another one which is I don't know what df stands for actually. Wait, df. Report disk space usage. New version of df displays the amount. It doesn't even tell you here actually. That's weird. Okay, so in df, it's telling me that actually they're not mounted yet. So df will tell you nothing. So sorry about that. We'll do that later. Okay. So we have to mount the new file system. Okay, so let me pause the video. I'm going to go get the slides and show you where to look for this mounting process. I'll be right back. All right, so here's the slide. And this is what you do for mount. So first of all, um, what have we done so far? Just to explain, okay? We've created the partitions, we've formatted them, so these are drives that are ready to be used now, but they're not attached to the system yet. They're just prepared drives. So we have to mount them onto the system. So the way to mount these things onto the system is that we have to put them into folders. So first of all, the first step to do again, and so I'll actually tell you what an exam question would be. Like I would say, write down all of the steps that are needed. So you're given a drive, which is SDB. List all the steps needed to create the file system, format, blah blah blah, and finally mount the drive. So these are all things that you would have to do. So here's what you do for mounting. Decide where you want to mount it on the file system, like where, So I'm going to actually mount it in my my home drive, at my home location here, right? The tilde. So first of all, I'll make a folder for them. Make dir, I'll call it drive 1. Okay, so that's where all the stuff for the first drive will go. I'll make another one for drive 2. Okay, so here, these two will be attached to those new drives that I have. Well, I mean, once I do a mount. So the next command to do is mount option defaults. Just always choose the defaults. There's very rarely times you don't need to. If you do, you have to look it up in a manual, like what you need to put. Uh, slash dev um, sdb1. And where do we put it? We're going to put it on the home drive and the thing we made that's called drive 1. Okay. I think you need sudo for this actually. Let me just try without. So yeah, it must be super user to use mount. Okay, so try it with sudo and it's done. Let's mount the other one as well. Done. And how do you tell if it's mounted? So I don't know if you saw in class what I was mentioning. Oops. If you go into drive 1 now and you type ls, if you see this thing called lost and found, it means that it's attached to the drive because a bare drive in Linux has this thing called lost and found in it. I don't know why they put it. It's a remnant from an old way they used to do things in Linux, like in the 60s. They used to put things they found from people here. Okay, I know it's super weird, but so um, let's go back and let's look at drive 2. What's in it? So it looks like everything is cool, right? And remember that df command that by mistake I said we should use? Let's see if it has changed. So so first of all, it ran. It's telling you the sizes here that are available and used. And look, these are the new drives we made. So it's telling you that the first drive, SDB1, is mounted on home bwood drive 1. The second one is mounted on home bwood drive 2. Okay, so as simple as that. And I think you can use DF with a better format. You know, with these numbers here, if you type -H, it means human readable, and it gives you better see, instead of saying 148 blah blah blah, it tells you 15 gigabytes. Like, it's much different, much better. And it also tells you here, like, what is the use of it, right? So it seems that I've used 77% of my, wait, so SDA, I've used, so 15 gigs I've chosen for SD. This is my, SDA is my Linux install, my main drive that we started with like a few weeks ago. And it's actually 77% full because I made it so small. So you have to be careful, and this is a nice way to see your space. All right, so basically that's this thing here. Um, but there's always a but. So CD drive 1, clear, ls. Now, for me to use this drive, I have to make a file in it. So touch file1.txt. So it tells me if permission is denied. I'm expecting this actually. That's because of the way things have been created. So what's wrong with it, right? So let's go back and type ls-l and just let's see what they look like. So first of all, drive 1 and drive 2 are owned by root. Okay, so the root is the owner, and the group. So what does this say? It says that root can do read, write, and execute in this, meaning root can read files, create files, and go into it. But other people can only go, well, actually, other people are here, which is me. I can read the files, I can go into it, but I can't write files. So that's exactly what we're seeing. Okay, so a few things to do. Like, so if drive 1 and drive 2 um, belong to me, like myself. Actually, let me just see one thing. If I go into the lost and found, who does that belong to? It's also root. So we'll fix all that. Okay, so the best way to do this, if you haven't figured it out already, sudo change owner bwood bwood. That's for drive one, um, drive one, and also you should do it recursively because you should be changing also all the files inside of it. So recursive drive one. So this should be okay. Okay, I'll do the same for drive two, and then let's see what it looks like. So drive one, drive two, they are both owned by bwood. This you don't have to play with because actually, since now I own it, um, read, write, and execute, so everything is okay. So then if I go to drive one, lost and found also belongs to bwood. Let's see, touch file one.txt. So it worked. So I've created this new file on this other drive, and called file1.txt. It's there. If I type ls minus l, I'll see that the file one that I had created, it also belongs to me. So at this point, everything is good. There's no problem anymore whatsoever for this to happen. Now here's the actual what the problem is that when I reboot my PC, actually, you know what? Let's do it. So let me show you what happens. So if I go here, power off, restart. So it closes connection because it doesn't connect. It's going to allow it to restart. So what do you think is going to happen to the drives? The problem is that they're not going to be connected anymore. So I'm just doing this to prove that to you. Okay, so reconnect. And if you guys ever want to download something like this program here, it's called Xshell. You can download it here, and it's free. Uh, I have like I purchased it, but you can get a free version that just does just as well. Okay, so enter a username to log in. Okay, now drive one, drive two, they're there because I made those directories, but are they really there? So cd drive one, actually df is the good thing to do. It's not there. See, they're not even showing. And if I go into drive one and I type ls, I'm not seeing the file I created, and I'm not seeing the other thing, the lost and found. So anything. So there's a problem. So the thing to do here is you would need to do a mount again, you know, -o blah blah blah, and it'll mount it again. Actually, I'll do it just to show you. Um, defaults dev sdb1 and mount. No, excuse me. It's in drive one here. I think something like that. Sudo and we're done. So cd drive one, and look, everything's back because I mounted it. Okay, just like that. Um, I think Unmount is to unmount, but why is it busy? Do I force it? Let me just check something out. Okay, so I was able to unmount it. It's actually minus L for lazy unmount. Just means like just mount it even if it's busy. And there you go. So let's look at the slides and let's continue. So we've actually finished our thoughts. So if we're saying that mount has to be done every single time you have to reboot, okay, I mean, you understand that's like an issue, right? Um, can something else be done to automatically mount them? So the answer is yes, and the answer is that you have to put your entry of your drives into fstab table. And it's going to automatically, at every single time you boot, it's going to load those drives up so that you can use them. Okay, so the way that you can put those in is like this. So I'm really sorry. This is the only thing you have to do is memorize this format. Is number one, it's the name of the partition. Number two is the location of the place that you're going to mount it. So for us, it was the squiggly point. But actually, you know what? Don't put that here. We're going to do it. We have to put the full absolute path. You can't put the tilde. Okay, so we'll try it. Then you have to put the format. So ext4, and then the rest is defaults. The two last zeros is to skip check of the drive when you start up, so it doesn't scan the drive every single time, which wastes a lot of time. And for zero, it's a backup status. It needs to be backed up. So it's usually 00 is enough. Now I'm going to actually pause it, but I'm going to show you like maybe how to do this with the GUI. Could be interesting as well, right? So let me show you that. All right, so if you load up Linux, first of all, your volumes, they might show up here. These are the new ones that we had created. But we can see what they look like. So here, search for disk, go into disks, and this is our base system. Like this is the virtual box. Excuse me, the Ubuntu system itself. This is the first part. This is SDA. So I don't know if, or excuse me, it's SDB here. So this is SDB1, and that's SDB2. See the partition 1, partition 2, and the whole drive is this. This is the other drive that we did. It's we didn't do anything with it at all. It's SDC. So, maybe we can actually do something here. So if I wanted to create a partition, let's see. No. How can I make a smaller partition? Format partition, ext4, but it's not giving me the size. I guess the size is something you can choose when you're doing it manually through the console. So volume name, erase internal disk for Linux. Sure. Next. Okay. So that's kind of weird. I mean, it doesn't give you size. Let me see. Can you drag? Hmm. Well, I mean, as you can see, it has like a ton of features that you can do, but it's not really mentioning the size. I guess you can create the partition, then you can resize it later. I saw a resize here. So anyway, it's a big kind of trouble. So let's go back here and let's edit that fstab command here. So let's just do this. Okay. So we're gonna say sudo nano /etc/fstab, and there's the file. Okay. So don't like please, I suggest not to touch any of these because these are the Linux systems that you already have. And let's create the new entries. So /dev/sdb1, that's the one that we created. And then we need to do the mount path. So please pay attention to this. So it was drive one, right? Like this. But don't put drive one like this because this is a relative path. Okay. Because this is done at boot. It doesn't know who you are yet. So what you're going to do is you're going to put your full path to your home drive. So for me, it's Homebee Wood, and I'm going to put drive one. See, so I'm putting the full path. And then you have to specify ext4 defaults. Look again, you change those when necessary, 0 and 0. So while we're at it, let's also mount SDB2. It's going to be mounted to home, be wood, drive 2, ext4 defaults 0 and 0. Okay, so save, go, and we're done. So technically, actually this is mounted right now. So technically, if I reboot the PC, I should still see these mounted. Like these should be remounted when booting. So let's try to reboot the PC. I did see a little error there. I'm not sure what it is, but it's not preventing me from starting. So here, reconnect. Okay, clear ls. Okay, CD drive 1. Look at that. It's mounted. Everything is okay. CD drive 2. And it's mounted automatically. So this is what fstab does. It automatically mounted everything for us. Okay. So then, what are some useful commands that we could use? It's so if we put this here, we just look at them here and just try them out. So df you saw it, or df minus h. It shows the space taken and used. Okay, so this is very important. Very good. There's another command called du. So maybe if I go to my home and I type du, it shows the usage of space from each file that you have. Okay, by directory or whatever it may be. If I said CD drive 1 du, it's just showing me the size of the lost and found and the current directory. So really nothing there at all. So 20 bytes. Fdisk is to manage partitions for MBR. We're not going to really go there. Like what I showed you was this part ed. It's the better one. So fdisk and gdisk, these are other ways to do things. Don't worry about this. You just need to know the part ed that we did. And I'll show you another thing actually that you need to worry about later. ls block. It's a lists block device, or storage device, even if they're not connected or connected. So really good. Block ID. So maybe I could show you here. So this is giving, okay, so it's giving it the block ID of the current drive. I think if I say /dev sdb1, okay, that's weird. Prints the device partition storage attributes like does not report the space on the partitions. Okay, there. So I had to do sudo. Sorry about that. Shows you all the other information that you want about the source, the UE ID, the partition ID. This is technical stuff. Like this is if you really wanted to dig in and you needed to find other ways, like the IDs, things like that. HW info, probably need sudo for this. Oh, um, so HW info gives you all the info about your computer. Big long list here. Um, let's see what's interesting. The system, the drivers, the USB drivers, the PCI, the disks are here somewhere. Let's see. If I said hardware info grep for SDB, oops, grep. So it's it's giving you information about the drives as well. So just to tell you. So what do you need to know here? For sure DF, for sure part ed, and ls block for sure. These are the ones I think you should know. Okay, and that's it for this. Now, what did I not show you? Okay, because I really showed you everything here. The thing I didn't show you that again could show up in any test is like this exact thing right here. Okay, so you can do part ed. So, first of all, you can do a part ed like this, and then you type in these commands, or you can actually just type this part ed. Oops, I can't type here. You can just put the word part ed, make part, here like this. I'll show you here. So all of these can be done like this, part ed, mk label, so part ed slash dev slash stb, stc something. No GPT. So you can do all of these. So what are we doing here? We're making an MBR label, okay, on SDB, right? Remember, there's GPT MBR, so that we're making the other one. Then we're making. So this is really showing you what we. Okay, we're on slide 26. Let me go up and show you. We're actually doing this exact thing. Okay, just to show you, give you some context. So we're making a primary partition from 0%, but here we're not using percentages. We're saying up to 2 gigabytes. We're making another partition. There's a bit of a mistake though in the slides. Drives can go more than 2 gigabytes. The partitions can't. Okay, so just keep that in mind. I'll make sure not to ask that in any test or anything. Second partition from 2 to 4. Third partition from 4 to 6. And the last partition from 6 to, I say, infinity till the end, 100%. So we have, so up to this part, we have 3 primaries and an extended. So do you remember how it worked? See, 3 primary and the extended, but now we can make logicals in the extended, right? So that's exactly what we're doing. So then we make partition logical from 6 to 8, and make partition logical from 6. Actually, this should be 8 to 100%. This is a mistake. So 8 gigabyte to 100%. Okay. So do you see where we're making these logicals? We're making the extended starting at 6 to 100%. So just to take note here. So your extended starts at 6 and goes to 100%. Your your first logical, it starts exactly where the extended starts and goes to whatever it may be. It could go to 75%. And your second logical could maybe go from 75% to 100%. Okay, so this is the way this is done. And unfortunately, this is what you have to do when you have an MBR. You know, GPT, you can just create a whole bunch of primaries and there's, you're good to go. Easiest thing ever. Okay, so I think that's all for today. Next class, like I said, because I really need you guys to watch this video, I'm probably just going to give you a little like 5 question quiz, like a very very easy quiz just to remember. And if you watch the video, honestly, it's going to be such an easy quiz that you'll get everything right for sure. So have a nice day and have a nice long weekend, I believe there's going to be, and I'll see you next week.